Alrighty, bow hunters, welcome back to another episode. Sitting here with Josh Forster. Welcome, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Matty. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, very welcome, man. It's cool to have you on. So it was actually Jack Spinks sent me your way. He's like, man, you should check out what Josh is doing. It's pretty cool what he's got going on behind the scenes. And I think we'll get to that, but maybe let's first start off like you're someone who has been hunting and fishing your whole life, aren't you?
Yeah, mate. It's I could probably retire if I didn't spend as much money as I have on chasing critters around and fishing, mate. But yeah, pretty much. Oh, since I was well, it probably stems back to when I was a kid with going around the rabbit traps with my grandparents with a lantern and yeah, that whole process back when
What were
that.
you doing to catch him?
Yeah, just like just with the traps back before they were illegal. Now
Oh,
they're
like the actual foot
actually,
traps.
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
wow.
yep.
Yep.
Back. That's probably showing my age now, but yeah. So it probably stems back from there, and got into bow hunting when I was about. Oh, I remember my uncle gave me a big long recurve, like a fiberglass looking thing that we put a bit of 100-pound cord on. I used to shoot sticks around the backyard, but it wasn't very accurate. I don't think I took any animals with that thing, but yeah, from that got into probably 15, I reckon I would have been when I got my first recurve. I think it was a bear from memory,
Hmm.
wooden one. And yeah, started practicing the backyard with the hay bale and got pretty good with it and
Was it wood
started.
arrows as well, or
Yeah,
carbons or
yeah.
steels
Well,
or?
we used to make our own, mate. We used to
Yeah,
get
cool.
dowel from in town to the local building place, and we'd actually make our own,
And
which
put proper tips on them or just sharpen the wood?
nah, so we'd actually put proper tips on them. We'd
Yeah.
we'd glue them on, and we would also go down and try and find some decent feathers, like eagle
No
feathers
way.
or whatever we do, and yeah, glue them on too, which
That's
is
awesome.
crazy. I wish I still had some of that stuff. Obviously, it's just been gone over the years, but yeah, I wish I still had some of that stuff. And I sometimes think. I obviously wouldn't put it through the bow I'm running now, but sometimes think that I should get another recurve and build my own arrows and do that stuff again. But it's just
Definitely.
time restraints and
Exactly. It's a bloody rabbit hole. I was just thinking like
yeah.
it's amazing the time that you have as a kid just to explore that stuff. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work. You're like, it was a fun project in the time. Versus now, I'm
Yeah.
like, if it doesn't work, I'm like, fuck, I just wasted the whole day on that. I didn't have a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So I think from there I got a. This was sort of back before the internet and everything, because this day and age you've got access to so much
So
information, and
much. Yeah.
it's just whether it's right or wrong, or even just the fit outs that are available now. I remember being down. We went to a expo in Bendigo. Bendigo had an expo. This is where I bought my first compound, decent compound.
Hmm.
And we rolled in there, and I remember Bear had a little setup, a little table, and that in this big expo center, and there was probably 400 or 500 people in this expo, and I remember walking up to the fella and saying, mate, I'm after a bow, and he's like, oh, looked me up and down, and I'm six odd foot, and I was quite strong back then, playing footy and all that sort of stuff, and he's like, oh, do you think you can pull 70 pound back? I was like, oh, don't know really know, mate. I'll give it a go. So he passed the bow over. It was a bear. Oh, it was like a legit or something like that. Strike maybe. I can't remember the top of my head, but it was a 70-pound bow.
Mm.
Anyway, he gave me a solid trigger. It was actually a solid metal trigger that you couldn't dry fire or anything
Yeah.
like
Wow.
that, and you couldn't put an arrow in the bow because we were in the big expo. Anyway, M stand beside me. I pulled this bow back. Well, this bow's exploded, and there's limbs and shit going everywhere. It's hit me in the arm. I'm squirting blood out of my
Oh
arm,
no.
and the noise that went through this expo, mate.
Oh,
And
I can
there's probably
imagine.
listeners that'll go, "I remember that bloke," but yeah. I looked at him and I'm holding this bow and there's blood going everywhere. I go, oh, I don't want that one, mate. And he quickly grabbed it and he shoved it under the bench and he's like, oh, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Anyway, I had a few experts come over and tell me not to dry fire a bow, and I was like, mate,
Oh
I
God.
physically couldn't dry fire the bow. So what I think now knowing what I know, I think the D loop must have let go, and
Yeah, wow.
it's just exploded this 70-pound bow into a million pieces.
Oh
So I said to
God.
him, yeah, after I go and get sewed up, mate, how about you do me a good deal on the next bow? So he pretty much took about $500 off the bow, and I think I got a case arrows, the bow, and everything for about $300 or something like that. So
That's crazy.
I was stoked, but I was bleeding a bit, but I was stoked, and yeah, went away with that. It just had a whisker biscuit. Never I never had a trigger for starters. I
Yeah.
actually, wound the bow down to about 60. I was running it at a guess now. Never had anything to test it, but
Yeah.
wound it back enough to think I was about at that 60 mark. And yeah, I used to just finger shoot it,
No
and
way.
yeah, got pretty good finger shooting it. It had a um, horizontal sight on it,
Yeah.
5 pin horizontal sight. And I was getting pretty good out to even 35 to 40 with the shooting with my fingers, because I just I'm the sort of person that once I put my mind to something, I'm just like,
Got to do it.
like a
Yeah.
dog on a bone. I'm like crazy, just get so focused on being better. And yeah, so went out hunting. Once I got good enough that I could hit a golf ball at 20, I thought, righto, that's pretty much me. I'm ready to go. And yeah, we were lucky enough that we had some family friends that had about 80,000 acres of what is now a national park,
Yeah. Wow. Like
which,
old lease land or something, or
well, yeah, it was all owned, and then they sold the water off it, and
yeah.
then pretty much passed it into the national park, which is disappointing for all us local guys here that used to have access to that property, because yeah, now we can't go there because it's a national park.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it had deer, it had fallow, some reds, and a lot of pigs on it. So
Yeah. Wow.
we used to rock over
Good
there, and
block.
it was
Yeah.
one that I wish I never lost. And now
Yeah.
it's pretty
Exactly. It's a
much just
heartbreaking.
it gets helicopter shot now and baited. So it's
Yeah.
just a
Wow.
waste. But yeah, and obviously a lot of people would know the national park I'm talking about. But yeah, it's disappointing, but it probably took me, and looking back now, pigs are very easy to hunt, I feel like, because I've been doing it
Mm.
for so long, and I can pretty much walk up and grab them by the tail laying in a nest these days. But
Yeah.
probably took me about 6 months to kill me first pig, I reckon.
Yeah.
Even
Wow.
even with as good as what I was, I would just get in there and I'd panic, or I'd just try to take shots that weren't there, or I was running the wrong. We'd pretty much, now back then, there was, like I said, there was no internet, so we were buying arrows from the local fishing shop that were probably built for about a 20-pound bow. They were aluminium, and obviously there was no consistency to them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was buying muzzies, 3 blade muzzies out of the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could actually when the internet first hit, which I would have been about 18. Yeah, that's when we started to actually be able to buy stuff from America. And
Yeah.
then but there was still really no information about, how to tune a bow, how to, what sort of spine to be running,
No. Yeah.
triggers, all this sort of stuff. There was still none of that. It took sort of about 5 years of the internet existing for any information to even
The
start to hit
forums to
it.
start and whatever else. Then. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And yeah, I remember we ordered our first set of muzzies because we were pretty much still running these cheap. I don't even know what they were. We were buying them out of this fishing shop, and they were just, yeah, I don't know. They had a picture of a goat on them, but I do remember that. They weren't real good. Yeah, once we got the muzzies, we actually started to get some consistency because we had the same, broadhead every single time. And then, yeah, once the internet, I was probably about 18, 19. By then it started to, take off, and yeah, we could start to learn. We started to learn, and I was learning through lots of mistakes, obviously,
Mhm.
mountains of mistakes. Like I couldn't even tell you how many times that I'd, made the wrong call on shooting, bare fingered, or, just buck fever. I remember seeing a deer that was reminded me of the Carlton Dryad with the big one on the hill, and yeah, I panicked, and it was only about 17 meters from it. I think I shot further away from it than what it was from me. So yeah, I'll never forget that one. That was very disappointing. But yeah, so
Do
that's
you
pretty
reckon it
much
was
where it started.
do you reckon it was kind of like that buck fever, or just like the desire to get it done was so overwhelming that it forced you to just kind of like rush everything at the very ending?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Obviously, what are you now? 5 or 6 years into bow hunting?
Yeah,
6 years,
6 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, we would always go and get rabbits. So rabbits was just like, whatever, rabbits, stand in the back of the ear, drive around, shoot them with a recurve, and then walk and shoot whatever. And you had to, or whistle foxes in. Foxes pretty much shoot one a day if you wanted to,
Yeah.
but you're shooting them from 2 or 3 meters. And we
Mhm.
never had rangefinders or anything like that either back then. So it was all guessing game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a combination of everything. You would just get, overwhelmed with the situation. You would just think that, oh, he's going to smell me because the last 10 have smelt me because I'm in the wrong spot, or yeah, there's something that's going to go wrong. There's going to be the birds go off, or because we've got jaybirds down here, and they are just like they are a pain in the ass. They follow
Yeah.
you around and squawk at you, and
Yeah.
so
Fall on the
yeah, it's probably
side.
just a combination of anxiety around not knowing what's about to happen, that potentially could have let it walk past at 6 meters, but you tried to take a 35-meter shot with bare fingers and
It's so
didn't
funny.
make it happen. Yeah.
It was funny. I went out hunting with James Doomstis on the weekend, and I said to him, I said, mate, I'm 6 years in, so really, I'm you at 10 years old. Like, think about the excitement you used to get at 10 years old, seeing all these animals. That's still
Yeah.
me. Like, at heart, I'm like, oh, yeah, a fox, or like, yeah, it's a rabbit. Like, I don't really care what it is. I'm just still so excited to see it. It's just like the love and passion for it. It's just cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but it never changes. Like,
No.
you'll find in 10 years time, you'll still get that adrenaline
Hmm.
like you did the first time. Like it's, for me, I shoot a lot of pigs, but I still get adrenaline from shooting pigs. Like,
Especially like a rutting boar when you hear them. Oh,
yeah,
that's exciting.
yeah. Demons in the grass, mate. I had a little session the other day, and we got a little bit of it on film, but it was a little bit too low a light. But we had pigs, just chaos. Like, it was just
Yeah.
chaos. There was 80 to 100 kilo boars just rutting in a big circle, and then we had pigs running out of bushes, like through my legs and things
Oh
like that, while
God.
we're standing there. Like, and they'd run past and go "Rip, rip," as they're running past. It's like, what the hell just happened? And yeah, I ended up getting out and got to 20 and smoked about a 90 kilo boar out of that mob. And the only way I could pick him up is because he had grey mud on him, and the low light was actually reflecting
Yeah.
the
Wow.
grey mud
Yep.
off him. So I just picked the grey. I went, yep, I know he's there, and picked him, followed him, and whopped him through the ticker. And yeah, it was
Good.
pretty cool footage, but it's just a little bit too dark to see. So it's just a little bit disappointing there. But everyone gets so caught up on this deer rut, mate. But the pig
Yeah.
rut, it gets the adrenaline up.
I've definitely been out hunting deer and then heard a rutting boar and changed directions.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, that's all right. I'll come back to the deer. Well, it was,
Yeah,
it was
it's
funny on the
yeah.
weekend because I had a fox. I whistled in a fox, and I was with my longbow. So it's the first time I've actually dedicated like a whole hunting trip to using my longbow. So it literally felt like starting fresh again. Everything
Yeah.
was new. Everything was like a new and exciting challenge, and it was all very hard. And I whistled this fox in, and I took a shot at this fox and skimmed straight over its back, missed it, and just I was shaking. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like, just all the excitement came back. I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
My first fox I ever shot, I was kneeling down, and I was calling, and I had me longbow, and he come running in. But what brought him in quicker was a butcher bird actually flew in, because it
mm,
obviously, predator too, and it's
yeah.
wanting to know where this rabbit is. And this fox is just watching the butcher bird, so he's just coming steaming in. I ended up shooting him at my feet, and he actually jumped up on my chest and
Oh,
then kicked off me and then ran away and died only like 30 meters away. But yeah, that was my first ever fox, and it was just
Jesus.
insane. And I'll remember that hunt forever, because it's never happened again.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the butcher bird actually, he was just V-lining for where that butcher bird was heading.
You
He
just
didn't give a
knew.
shit.
Yeah.
He wasn't even focused on the noise. He was just like, wherever that bird's going, that's where it's going to be.
Isn't that
Um,
wild? There's definitely some footage somewhere of a coyote coming in and attacking a guy's phone while he's on the phone. I
yeah,
can't remember. I've
right.
seen that on Instagram, but yeah, coyotes run right in and like gone to grab the phone. And he's looking this way down the hill, and the coyotes come from behind him and grab. He's like, whoa! And it's just like woof, takes off. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know about that.
Same sort of predator feel, right? Like just wants to attack whatever it is. Like, oh, there's a
Yeah.
flickering. It's got to be a bird or something.
Yeah. Predatory instincts, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool, man. So you've got you do a fair bit of filming. What do you do for filming? Like, do you use just GoPros and stuff, or you got a fair kit?
Yeah, I think somebody needs to create an actual proper action camera that
Mm,
has a zoom that's not a GoPro or not one of these DJIs. It's so hard by yourself. Like, it's nearly
it is.
impossible to get good footage. And I only ever want to really hunt by myself, because I like to be as silent as I can and the smell to
Hmm.
be down as low as it can. And,
Yep.
you know, and I don't want to be dictated to by timing. Oh, I can go Saturday, I can't go Sunday, whatever it is. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
when I can go, I want to go, but it's just so hard to get. And GoPros, you know, I'll shoot a 100 kilo pig at 20 meters and it looks like it's 700 meters away. And it's
Yeah,
just, yeah, it's
exactly.
like you're pretty much wasting your time. And yeah, so I usually get either my brother-in-law Tyler. He does a bit of filming with us and a bit of hunting with me as well.
Hmm.
I got him into bow hunting about 3 or 4 years ago. Now he's a fanatic. He
Yeah.
absolutely lives and breathes it now, and you know sits in the backyard just flings arrows when he gets a bit of downtime. So that's awesome. So and my brother, my older brother, he was into it pretty much when I started getting into it as well. He
Yeah,
got a bow
cool.
similar time, and we used to hunt nearly every weekend together. And even Em's, you know, she had a 50 pound bear as well, and used to come out and get amongst it, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
live out
wicked.
in the bush with us. And yeah, now she's getting a bit soft. She's had kids and doesn't like killing things anymore. But yeah, so she doesn't head out anymore. But yeah, pretty much Paul or Tyler, mate, they'll follow me around with the camera, or I'll follow them, and
Yeah,
yeah, try
awesome.
to get some footage. And it's pretty much just to share, you know, the devastation of what pigs and things can do, because it's pretty much just pigs. I don't have a hell of a lot of the deer I shot this year, which is the one directly behind me right now. I did not get a chance even to get a GoPro on my head. It all
Yeah.
happened that quickly. So deer, I try not, like I literally won't film if I'm targeting deer, because I just don't want anything to go wrong. I don't want, you know, them to
Yeah.
see GoPro flashing. I don't want to
Yep.
see, yeah, I want to be as,
The lens flash from the sun,
yeah,
like there's so
yeah,
much that can go with it. Yeah, I
yeah.
started trying to film a little bit more recently, using Insta 360. It's a cool camera, but same concept. Like you can't zoom in, you can't do shit without it just being super grainy, and it's just editing takes a long time. It's very frustrating.
It does. And yeah, when I first started, thank God I had M, because I would have been, had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, he navigated that, and then once you know, I worked out how to do it. I've gotten a lot quicker. I wouldn't say better. I wouldn't say you know, I'm
You
great
just
at
get
it,
used to
but
it, right?
you
It's
just
just
get used
yeah,
to it. Yeah, it's just a process now, and it's probably more working out what viewers want to watch as well. Like it's like, you know, I'll get phone calls all the time saying, you got to tell more of a story. I'm like, yeah, that's because you know me. People that don't know me just want to see me killing shit. You know, like
yeah.
it's not, yeah. So it's like those dopamine hits, you'll see the trends and you'll see the dropaways because I'm talking shit. It's like, well, that's not what the viewer wants to, the overall viewer. Yeah, you might want
Watching,
to,
yeah.
you know,
I saw you had the 20, what was it, like 30 kills in 20 minutes or
yeah,
whatever.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Those ones that are like
yeah.
the really
They go
popular
off.
ones,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is crazy, because you can watch the same in about 12 minutes or 14 minutes of 5 or 6, and they're actually, you know, good storylines and good, you know,
exactly.
there's actually a process behind everything, and you talk about the you know,
What's going
potential.
on? Why you're
Yeah,
doing it? Yep.
exactly. Yeah, and but instead people just want dopamine hits, and
Yeah.
it does make it frustrating as a editor and a
Hmm.
YouTube, like to do YouTube, because
Hmm.
yeah, you put so much heart and soul into it, and then you get
Yep.
critiqued, or people just click off you because you start to talk. So yeah, we're getting better at it. Yeah, some of the fishing stuff's really cool, because I have a lot of people reach out and just ask me questions when it comes to fishing. Probably, yeah, been, you know, fishing's probably the number one hobby, and then bow hunting would be number two probably.
Hmm.
But down here we don't have great fishing. We have, you know, access to Murray cod and things like that, but I just find it boring. After spending a month in Darwin every year, I struggle to fish locally, really. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
And I'm sure
and
it's kind I'm not sure if this is actually the right statement to say, but once you've kind of had a few meteries, I'm sure it's kind of like they all become the same, right? To some degree.
yeah, pretty much. And cod, you know, I'll probably get shot for saying this, but cod are pretty boring. Like you know, they're a big, heavy fish, and they, you know,
They
they
don't have
pull
a
a bit
lot
of
of go
drag
to
and that.
them.
And
Yep.
yeah, I just, after catching, you know, meter plus barramundi, you just can't, like, there's no comparison. It's hard
That
to,
head shake, the jump, like the
the
things they
jump.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
incredible.
all that. So yeah, I don't know. And even going offshore, and you know, you drop a bait down and you're hooked up to a meter 20 Dewey in, you know, seconds, as opposed to sitting out here trying to catch a yellow belly for hours on end. It's like, you know, it's yeah, I will go out just to try and, you know, either test stuff or, try to get a bit of footage or take my daughter out. She loves fishing. So yeah,
Yeah.
we do get out a bit here. We like to travel here. There's some good fishing around Mildura area and a bit further along. So
Yeah.
Lake Victoria area. I love going down there.
Yeah. Awesome. And so, all line fishing. You ever tried spear fishing or all line stuff?
No, mate, I never have tried spearfishing. I think, yeah, I don't know. I can hold my breath for about 10 seconds. So I don't know how I'd go, but
Well, I think the
yeah.
fact that you're successful with the line means that you don't really have to dive in, right?
Well,
For
I don't
me,
really like sharks either. So
yeah,
I
fair
don't know.
enough.
I know. I
You've
know.
probably seen the carnage a lot more than I have, being the
Yeah,
lineman. Yeah.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. We had a crocodile jump on our boat a couple of years ago,
Oh
which was pretty
God.
scary.
Tell me
And
about that. Tell me the story. I got to hear it.
yeah, so it was a very tough year for us, 2019. The north hadn't had much rain. So we went to the Daily for starters, and then it looks like you're frozen here for a
There we
second.
go.
You right
I'll
now?
come
Yep.
back. Yep.
Yeah, so we ended up, yeah, so we tried like a heap of river systems up top. In the end, it took us out to East Alligator. Um, Out right now. So we put in a Cahill crossing, and we headed out towards the mouth. And there's a little creek there called, I'll probably pronounce it wrong, but it's like Mangilla Creek or something like that.
Hmm.
Never been on the river system before. We spoke to a mate up there that's a guide. He's just like, yeah, stick to the right, you'll be fine. Just punch it all the way down, you'll be fine. Anyway, we hit a sandbar at about 70 k's an hour,
Oh
about
God.
halfway down there. It got stuck on it, and that was like it was. I don't even think it was daylight at that point. So like it was just on daylight. The two boys were eating their spaghetti on each seat. They just went flying past me. I'm jammed against the front console. I was like, oh wow, what has just happened? Yeah. Anyway, the boat that I had back then was a 5.1 JS Marine. It was a custom built boat from Darwin,
Hmm.
plate boat, so pretty heavy. Had 115 horse Suzuki on it.
Yep.
Anyway, we sat there and tide was just starting to run back out, so we knew that we had about 9 hours of sitting on this sandbar if we didn't try to get the boat off the sandbar. So we all looked around and went, "Oh, we can't see any crocodiles, so let's have a crack." So we were literally, it was only like foot deep water,
Yep.
and it was flowing very hard. But what we could feel was when it was flowing, the water was going under the boat and was actually washing underneath the boat. And you could feel the boat move occasionally because the,
Mm.
the sand was washing away from underneath the center keel
Yep.
part. So yeah, three of us would jump in, we'd pull, and then we'd jump back in and bloody look around, and yeah, we're all still intact. And we did that for about an hour, I reckon, and eventually got it back in
Oh.
the main river system. Yeah, and headed down to this creek. Got down to the creek. Fishing was dog shit there, so it wasn't even worth the risk anyway, and the lost spaghetti. But we started. We we ended up hooking a fish, and Tyler's fighting it, and he's in the front of the boat. I'm sitting in the center console, and another mate's to my right. Anyway, Tyler's out the side, and it's only a small. It was a small catfish. It was only 40 centimeters long.
Yeah.
He's reached down, grabbed the leader, and he started to lift it into the boat. And this crocodile has just come out of from underneath, and it's sort of jumped. Its whole arm got over the side of the boat, and it's like a decent sized boat when you stand up to it. It's sort of come up to here when it was on the trailer on me, so
Yeah.
it's a decent depth boat. Yeah, it's landed its arm on. It's grabbed the fish out of Tyler's sort of
Oh
hands
God.
here, just gone sort of whack, like right there, and it's fallen back in. And all I saw, like I didn't see any of it. Like this is just what Tyler told me. All I saw was a tail come over everybody's head and then sort of go back into the water, and then chaos. It hit like saplings next to us, and the fish was still hooked to the rod, and the rod's just gone smash against the side of the boat and hooked the bait caster on the edge of the boat, and then the line's just going. And I'm just like, what has just happened? Riley's jumped me, like he's jumped on the other side of the boat, and I've just gone crocodile. Like, and I'm looking up, and Tyler's still intact, but he's just white. He's just gone white.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I was like, what happened, mate? And he's like, that thing missed my, neck and hand by, half a foot, sort of thing. And
Oh.
it was only after the fish, like it knew what it was doing the whole time. It just had the fish in mind, and even when it landed on the boat, it was still coordinated enough to grab the fish. Like, and the whole boat sort of rocked. We estimated it probably just under 4 meters,
Yeah. Okay.
the crocodile. So it was a big crocodile. And we drove around the corner and it sat on the bank and ate the fish in front of us.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was an eye opener for us. And it was sort of a little bit of a wake up call to the point where, we'd been going for about 10 years and we'd gotten a little bit complacent with getting in the water that morning. And I tell you, ever since that day, yeah, I've been spearing fishing. I've been, doing all those things. And unless, it's a meter plus and you've got current and you're using the boat and you can get them swimming that way. But yeah, I'll literally just spear every fish in now because yeah, that he was sitting under the boat and my sounder, you could actually scroll back. You could scroll back a certain time
Oh
plate,
yeah.
and we could actually see him sitting under the boat.
No way.
But I just wasn't paying any attention to this big lump sitting under the boat.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Like they're educated like that, right?
Yeah, he knew he'd heard the boat motor coming, and he was like, "Oh, I'll get a free fee today." And we reported him and everything, and the ranger said that they'd had reports that there was a troublesome croc down there that they were going to have to deal with. So I hope he's being dealt with because he scared the hell out of us boys, and
Yeah, that's hectic.
I haven't been back there since. So but that was a tough year for us. It's the only year I think I've ever been to Darwin and not bagged out in the first couple of days. So it was a tricky year for us. But mud crabs out of control because they didn't have the big flush. There was mud crabs like I've never seen before. But yeah, just the fishing was very poor.
And all just crab nets. That was like crab pots for them.
Yeah. Just your round crab pots. Yeah, we just chuck them in. We were heading out. Yeah, hit a couple of spots out there, and we were getting our 30 in a day with the three boys in the boat there, and go back and have a big feed. And yeah, we actually brought some home. We put them on a ice like a salt ice brine like thing, and bring them home for to have a cook up at home.
What's your favorite way to cook them?
So I pretty much either chili mud crab, so break them, like quarter them, full bottle of chili sauce and bit of water, and a bit of
like a sweet chili
onion
sauce.
Yeah, sweet chili sauce. Yep. And yeah, just sort of half boily steam them up and eat them that way, or pretty much I'll just fully gut them and clean them, and I'll boil them for about 13 minutes and then drop them straight into ice water with salt in it for about 15 to 20, and yeah, that they sort of separate off the shell and everything, and they're just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think I heard somewhere that someone tries to put the salt in the boiling water. Have you ever done that? And has it made a difference?
We do. We do that with yabbies and crayfish and everything down home here. Just
because
for
of the
taste.
muddiness? Yeah, got you.
Yeah, just a taste. Yeah. A lot of lake yabbies and that you get that are spotless, we don't even bother because they're beautiful. They're nice and clean. But yeah, the river or the dam yabbies, we chuck a bit of salt, and they actually preserve for a little bit longer too.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. That's good stuff. And is that the only croc encounter that you've had since going?
Yeah, it's pretty much been the only one. We've we had a little one jump on our transit one night when we were spotlighting, but that was just because he got light in his eyes and jumped on the back of the transit, but he was only about a meter long. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, we've had a few in the cast net and that. You'll see on my Instagram. There's a couple there, the little fellas that get in the cast net and that. But yeah, you'll be surprised. You don't even know they're there, and they'll be in a little gutter, and you throw them in there, and you pull in a croc like this, and yeah, just get him out of the net, and let him go. But yeah,
they thrash around a fair bit when they're caught in that. I can imagine that.
Yeah, but most of them are that small. You can sort of just get your hand behind their head and let them get them out of there and let them go. But one was a little freshy, and they've got teeth that sort of sit downwards, and that got hooked in the net a bit, and he was a bit of a pain to get out. But yeah, we not really. They're pretty cool.
And are they croaking at you in that when they're like that?
Yeah, definitely. They sound. It's a funny sound. Have you heard the sound? Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird sound. The little fellas definitely do, and you're thinking, Jesus, where's mum? Get him back
exactly.
quick. Let's get him back in there.
That's your worst nightmare.
We actually had one hissing at us one night on the daily. We're down at Brown's, and we'd pulled down Brown's, and she must have been above us on a bank, and she had young ones because you could hear them go meh meh meh.
Yeah.
They're there, and then we started hearing this, and And I was like, it's not a bird. Let's get out at it. Yeah, so yeah, that was definitely a crocodile hissing at us, and
Was
yeah, we
that
got
like
belly up.
early morning or something when the sun
Nah,
was?
we fish it at night.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
daily, yeah, we pretty much go out and target surface stuff at night. So,
Yeah.
an amazing place. If you've never been to the daily, everybody's got to experience it at night. It's just phenomenal. It's buffalo off into the distance, pigs carrying on, and bird life, crocodiles, mullet jumping out of the water. It just comes alive. It's
Yeah. It's
phenomenal.
incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's the most iconic river system in Australia, I think, as
Hmm.
far as yeah, all those special things. But yeah, I do have a soft spot for it though. Been going
Yeah.
there for a long time, but yeah.
Definitely. And so all the fishing stuff that you do, is it all lure based stuff, or you do bait or mixture?
Yeah, I used to bait a lot. Not so much anymore. I really like, yeah, clean boat.
Hmm.
So, like, yeah, offshore stuff. Dealing with squid and all that sort of stuff. Just like, yeah, not so much. But
Sticky hands
yeah,
for
so
days. Yeah.
pretty much just target, you know, lure fishing. I love lure fishing. Literally, yeah. That's I think I'd have more, like, obviously live on the Murray, but I'd have more barramundi lures than I'd have cod or yellow belly lures. 100%. I would have probably double, I reckon. And
Yeah.
and when you get up there, you tie the same three lures on
Yeah, of
the whole
course.
trip, pretty
Of
much.
course.
Yeah,
Old
yeah,
faithfuls.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I do love I've only fished for Barrow a few times, and pretty much the surface lure stuff that we've done with it has always been so much fun. Just watching them come up and smack it,
Yeah.
and then they just fight it so much at the top. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's once you have caught them on fizzes and poppers and all that, it's yeah, it definitely, you're more, eager to get back and experience that, and all the sounds and everything, the buffalo and all that, and the scrub balls, and you can hear them going off in the distance at midnight, and yeah, just it's just a cool place, just
Yeah, that's
like no
awesome.
other place.
Yeah. And so what about bow hunting the bovines up there?
Yep. So we do a bit up there. We're lucky enough. I've got a friend from down here that owns a business up there that's in the ag sector pretty much. So
Mhm.
we've been lucky there to get onto some places. And then yeah, pretty much through going to Mataranka nearly every year, and just meeting people there and getting, tips to, on stations, and go out there and do a bit of work or whatever, and
Mhm.
yeah, get access to places like that. Yeah, we put the hard yards in early pretty
Definitely.
much because
Yep. Best way to do
yeah,
it.
you've got to build those connections, and people have got to trust you, and it is very hard, and it takes years almost to get to places, and then you just don't want to, mark it up. So we pretty much, yeah, make sure we're pretty lucky because Tyler's an electrician,
Hmm.
another mate's a builder, and I'm pretty handy welder. So we're never short of,
Jobs. Yeah.
asking for a bit of help, which is fine. We
Yeah,
love we
definitely.
love we love it too. Yeah, and that's yeah, we just build up those, mate. And yeah, now we don't have a great. Some of the property that we have is very dry in the dry season, and there's
Mhm.
not, it doesn't hold bugger all. And there's actually YouTube. I don't know if you've watched that one, but where we go hunting a buffalo in the build up, and yeah, Tyler and I do it pretty hard for 3 days. We're just sweating bullets and walked
Yeah.
about 47 k's in 40 odd degree heat, and
Far out.
in the end, we couldn't filter water quick enough to what we were drinking it, and
That's
we had to
crazy.
call it a day early because we were just we were no good.
How much water
And
were you getting through?
9 liters a day, that's
Whew.
what we were averaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that wasn't enough, mate. Like, we were eating salt tablets, we were doing everything, but we were
Yeah.
carrying, like, my pack was 26 kilos, and I think Tyler's, with camera gear, obviously,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Tyler's was pretty similar. Yeah, we were sleeping, in tents, and it just um, little blow up mattresses,
Mm.
me Loomis, G Loom bloody thing, and it was just pulling up with water under me back, and yeah,
No
insane.
way.
Like, you'd roll
Yeah.
it over about 4 times a night to try and get a decent sleep. But it was, people probably say, "Oh, you pussy, it's hot and that," but carrying that weight while it's
Oh,
hot, like
definitely.
like
Get
we
you.
we fish that, we cast rods all day in that sort of temperature, and it doesn't phase me one little bit. But when you're carrying 26 extra kilos on your backpack
A big
and a
difference.
bow,
Yeah.
God, it knocks you around. And yeah, the fatigue was, we would try to hunt this property, mate, was that hard of hunting that we got two opportunities where we saw a buffalo and I made one count and Tyler missed out on his. And
Yeah,
that was
wow.
the only in 3 days
Yeah.
of blood, sweat, and tears. And that was at daylight on both mornings. After that, didn't see a single animal for the rest of the time. We
And
saw some pigs.
and
But
they were just lone bulls, or they were in a
one
herd when
was
you
the
saw
one
them.
that I got was a lone bull. The ones that the two that Tyler got onto, yeah, that was a cow and a young one. Yeah, and they literally were sticking to the trees, just sticking
Yeah,
to the
wow.
trees, and we couldn't get them. I got the lone bull that was crossing a little bit of a field. I picked him up and got sort of pretty much ran at him and kicked the dirt to get him to stop before he was going into the trees, and then
Mm.
smoked him at 33. But
Kick the dirt
if
because that makes them think there's another bull.
yeah, yeah, sort of like, yeah, it's like, oh, what's that? There's a bit of dust in it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
something's happened there, and he literally just sort of turned and faced me perfectly broadside.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and smoked him clean through the heart, and he went they get a they the buffalo that I've shot. I shot one frontal earlier that year in June,
Hmm.
uh, and it only went about 35 meters and went belly up. But
Straight
this
over.
other one, he got it probably got 50 or 60 at least. And luckily he made out at like his last hurrah, because we would never have found him, mate. He literally went into the trees and then turned a right angle and went back behind us.
Huh.
We probably would never have found him if he hadn't have let out that last little bellow, and he was about 80 meters in thick jungle to the far right of us. And yeah, lucky he did, because we wouldn't have found him. But he was a young bull, but a very big bull in
Body.
stature, just not so
Yep.
much head. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But I shot a monster in June in on one of the YouTubes there, and we're in knee deep water, and I tracked in there to try and find him. It was a frontal shot at 20 meters. He actually come at me. He like the herd sort of passed, and they all fled. And he
Yeah.
just stopped and went, "Nah, mate, I'm not going anywhere." And he was like huge, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest buff I've seen. And he come at me. He just kept coming at me, looking around the corner, coming at me. So I fed one. I don't like taking that frontal shot, but you can they do have a big heart, obviously. So
Hmm.
you've got a fair bit of area to aim at. And I was punching, a fair bit of weight. I was at about 560. Yeah, and hit him sweet, hit him perfect, and turned around. He didn't run out on the open flood plain. He ran straight back into the flood water, and yeah, I got the boots off and literally walked around in knee deep water that was probably full of crocodiles for about 2 hours trying to find him, because he was that big a ball that I just wanted to find him. In the end, I just thought this isn't probably worth it. So I pulled the pin there, but
No
very
way.
disappointed with that one. But yeah, later on the next morning, I got a big cow with a big set of curly ones that nearly touched at the top.
Yeah, wow.
They were insane. They were
Yeah.
yeah, and that was a frontal shot at 13 meters. She
There's
pretty
actually
much
a document that it must be on a website somewhere. I've definitely seen it, and it's a guy who's done. I think he's even got some videos on there as well about the frontal shot and the effectiveness of on buffalo in
yep,
particular. And like, if
yep,
you nail it, obviously, if you get it wrong, you're not going to have a
yeah,
fun day at all. It could
yep.
get pretty dangerous pretty quickly. But yeah, that frontal shot is so effective on them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not scared of taking a frontal on a buffalo at under 30 meters. Like,
Yeah.
there's, yeah, I can pinpoint a spot on them. They're sort of like where their neck sort of like, it's like I guess their neck joins the top of their shoulders sort of thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's nearly a point that you can see it nearly changes color there, and I just aim straight for that. And
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah, the three buffalo that I've taken with frontals, yeah, that big bull's the only one I've lost, and he ran into water. He definitely he'd be dead. He'd be dead for sure, but
Oh yeah.
just didn't know where he ended up. There's too much water and too sketchy for me.
There's actually video in Asia of water buffalo, and they will be underwater, like submerged
Yeah,
completely underwater, and the boats will go over the top of them and watch them, and they're just like eating and they're
yeah,
looking around the water. So cool, like as a concept of what they can do.
yeah. We've seen on the daily, mate. Once, a buffalo was sort of like he swam the river, and then he was stuck on like a big steep embankment, and he was trying to swim along the embankment, and we sort of went, "What the hell's that?" And we drove over to him, and he actually tried to swim and attack the boat while he was swimming, and we're like, "Oh, right, mate, settle down. I think you're in a bit of trouble here, and you need to find a way out." But yeah, we later on that day we come back past, and he'd found his way out. So either
Yeah,
that or he got
well.
eaten by a crocodile. I don't know, but yeah, he was pretty aggro. But that, yeah, I have seen a few footages of people, yeah, getting attacked in their boats, just driving past them, and they'll come at them, and
That's crazy. I didn't know
they're
that.
pretty
Yeah.
aggressive. But
Yep.
yeah, we were lucky enough to get a few scrub balls last year too, which yeah, Tyler managed to get two, and yeah, they're very aggressive too when they want
Mhm.
to be.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're a very alert animal for like the buffalo's pretty good, but yeah, the scrub bull they're pretty switched on. They're pretty good,
Mm.
pretty good. Like their noses especially, I got within 23 um on one big black and white one, and yeah, literally felt having the skin aired. I felt the wind sort of just touch the back of my neck and went,
Yep.
I've got a feeling this is not going to go well. And yeah, he pretty much just sort of did one look up in the air and then went, I know where the wind's coming from. I'm going to pinpoint him, and went around the bush and just pretty much locked eyes with me.
Oh.
Yeah.
They
And
start getting the head down and
yeah, he
little
did
nods
that.
and
He did
stuff.
that.
Yep.
And then he sort of ran out about 40, and then he come back in for another look. But every single time he was just on the move, and I just couldn't take a shot. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I just left him be, let him roll on. Uh,
Yeah. So did you get a scrub ball as well while you're up
No,
there?
I didn't last year, and yeah, so no, I've never shot a scrub ball, mate. That's
Mm.
one thing that's on the list. It's yeah, Tyler, like when we went back up, I said, mate, buffalo, because he hasn't shot a buffalo yet. I
Yep.
said, buffalo, yours, scrub ball, you're
Mine.
not touching it. Yeah,
Yep.
so
Yep.
but yeah, we it went the other way around. Yeah, that I got close to that buffalo and dropped her at 13, and then yeah, I felt bad then because Tyler hadn't pulled the bow back that day, and then we come across a scrub ball, so right, I mate, into him. So yeah,
Yep.
he smoked him. Yeah, and that probably took 30 odd minutes of standing. We're sort of out in the open, and he just kept staring at us. And the wind was good for us, but he'd go back to eating, then stare at us, then go back to eating, then stare at us. And that probably went on for like half an hour until we'd take like one step at a time. And he never fed away from us because he wanted to keep an eye on us the whole time. Yeah, they were very switched on, the old Scrubble.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
interesting.
so if people out there that have taken one, well done. They're a tricky big thing. But
It's
yeah, and
definitely
the
high on my
buffalo are
list.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is interesting when you're with animals in general. And every different sorry, every animal has its own instincts to it, obviously, but how much you can get away with if you've just got the background right on you. Like if you can have a tree
Mm,
right behind you, like
yep.
I literally had deer at 15 meters off me just eating, and they kind of look over and be like, that's a bit strange. Oh well, and then just
Yeah.
go back to eating. Like on the weekend, it was so interesting to watch it. And then I had one at 7 meters, like it walked straight over. It was almost like it was curious and just wanted to see, and just came right over and just kind of had a feed and looked at me a little bit closer, and then just kept feeding. You're like, oh, like it's so interesting if you can just get
Mm.
it right, what you can actually get away with, and how close you can get to these animals.
Yeah, definitely. And the camo these days is really,
Mm.
really good. Like the technology and everything with the camo, yeah, phenomenal. I hate wearing a face mask
Yep.
because I love the string on my nose and
Mm.
all those little feelings that I love. Yeah, I struggle with a face mask, but yeah, if you can get your hat low enough and sort of shading and that sort of thing on your face
Yep.
and get good camo and it's just broken up enough that yeah, even deer struggle at times with the good camo if you got your back against something good.
Yeah, definitely. I think the shade helps a lot, right? Like
Yeah,
you got that pale face like me. I think we'd stand out like little ghosts to them.
yeah. If I'm hunting sun, yeah, I'm running the amphibious stuff that
Yep.
Spinksy's got now, and yeah, I'll just pull that face shield, the neck shield up
Yep.
across my face and roll in the sun that way. But I generally try to time hunting where the sun's going to be in favor of the wind.
Yeah.
So the pigs that I have locally, they're only sort of an hour away from me, so it's like okay, I'll just time my days that I know that things are going to align for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not hunting into indirect sunlight.
So, where you hunt for pigs, is it flatland or is it hill country?
Nah, it's all flat. It's all salt bush, lignum
Yep.
bush stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
river
Okay.
river country. Yeah.
And so, what's kind of like? Obviously, every different location has its own little perks and faults to it. What is the concept of what you find works best for these?
Yeah, so obviously rutting times are, insane time.
Mhm.
We were talking about it earlier that yeah, that this sort of time of the year when and I've noticed the moons play a massive factor in this pig rutting.
That's
I don't know if
interesting.
anybody else has found this, but I sort of the last few years I've been tracking a little bit, and like it's very early for them to be rutting. Usually, for like I'm talking like 3 weeks ago when I first smoked a few that were rutting,
But
but
a sow will cycle every 3 months, won't she?
that she will, yes. I guess for me it's like when I say fully rutting, like June for me was always like the peak rut because it was like the temperatures were always low. So you
Yeah.
would get, 3 hours of rutting in the morning, you'd get 3 hours of rutting in the afternoon, and
Mm.
you get sort of potentially 6 hours of hunting time in. But
Yeah.
I noticed 2 weeks ago leading up to the new moon, they went absolutely crazy,
Mm.
absolutely nuts. There was just chaos everywhere. A week later, I was in the same spot, didn't hear a pig, did not come across them, walked across them. All the boars stacked up together, sleeping, doing all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff, not rutting at all. And it sort of made me start to think that, obviously that cycle plays a massive part, and it has to be something to do with the moon because it was just two total opposites within 4 days or 5 days of each other.
Yeah, because I always just thought it was random and pretty much based on the estrus of a girl. Like I'm assuming it's an estrus, but yeah, essentially when they're in season or on heat, and I just figured that it was quite random based on the factor of having so many different girls within a mob of pigs. Essentially, that they would cycle at different times or whatever.
Yeah, well, if that's, like maybe it's just circumstance that I was noticing these things with this
Yeah, it
new
is
with the
interesting if
lead
it is
up
the
to the
moon.
to the
Yeah.
new moon, but it sort of seemed like with the amount of pigs that I was finding, you would think that something would have been on at that time because there's
Mm.
sows, they've done a trapping and baiting program the last 2 weeks, and I think they've got over 400 or 500. So,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, out of our properties. So, yeah, they were definitely thick,
Yeah.
and so the amount of pigs that were in there to not hear any rutting, it was sort of
It's
like
just
it
wild.
was it
Yeah.
was weird, yeah, real weird. And then yeah, lead up to this new moon, they were actually active, last night. So
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
looking at it
You
going, well,
might be
this is
onto
weird.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll keep tracking the moons, and
Yeah.
that
Definitely.
works for the fishing. So surely I can
I'm
tie it
sure
up
it
with pig
affects
hunting
to
somehow.
some degree. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there is definitely phases that does affect it. I don't know how, but I'm sure there would be something that ties in somehow.
I should just Google it because now that I've got internet, I could probably
Yeah,
probably educate
exactly.
myself.
I was going to say it'd be good to talk to a pig farmer, but that would probably work as well. Just jump on
Yeah.
ChatGPT. We can get answers very quickly. uh,
Yeah.
so, what were you guys using for your water filtration system up there?
So I had the MSR, that I think it was about a 6 liter one.
Mm.
And yeah, if you watch the YouTube, we're literally like Tyler's getting some water at one point, and I'm like, there's a shit right there, mate. Like he was literally scooping up buffalo shit, and the water quality was putrid. But that's all we had. But
Yeah.
what would happen was the filter would block up that quickly that it was taking us about an hour a
That's the
liter.
one that
So
does the drip down. Like you get the big bag and it
yeah,
just drips
correct,
through.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. It was a lesson learned. We if we were to go again, we definitely look at the filtration a little bit closer and maybe carry two with us so we could speed that process up because it just wasn't quick enough for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lay time in the middle of the day, where we try to just chill out. That's when we're trying to siphon water, and we were still only getting sort of 5 or 6 liters in that time frame. It wasn't enough for us. So.
Yeah, that's wild. Um,
Mm,
Bit of a change of angles, but because you're in the ag world, there's a fair bit of shit going on down in Victoria right now. In particular, trying to put a new tax on farmers, which would
mm.
really destroy a lot of farmers. Really, is it a fire tax? Is that essentially what they're trying to do?
It's been everywhere on socials and everything, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm probably a little bit ignorant, but I don't watch news or listen
Yeah, me
to
either.
any of that sort of
Well, I was
stuff.
trying to. I'm
So
like, you're in the ag world, you'll know something.
I'm sort of a little bit out of it. Yeah, a lot of my mates, if you ask them, they'd be able to tell you everything, every single finer detail. But honestly, mate, I don't know the full ins and outs of it. All I know that, yeah, it's a tax, and yeah, the pretty much the CFA and the local fire brigades and the volunteers and everything are down in the cities rallying at the
Really?
moment, and
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
I saw that.
pretty hectic down there. But yeah, I try to remove myself. We don't have TV in the house as far as TV.
Yeah.
We have all the streaming stuff, so
Yeah,
Netflix and
yeah.
YouTube and all that sort of stuff. But
We're the
we
same, man.
literally just don't watch
I
mainstream
think it's
TV.
actually a really good way to go, just to remove the negativity, because that's all they fucking report on is just the most negative BS, and
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't like there's a thousand good things that happen in the world every single day, right? And they never report on any of that. It's
any of it.
always just like, oh, the worst thing that you can possibly think of, and then it just puts your mind into a negative state. It's not a great way to live, I don't think.
Well, we'll have bushfires and flooding at the moment and that, and they'll have Donald Trump on the TV, and I'm just like, oh, I don't, like I they're not reporting on our,
On our stuff as
the
well.
stuff that's
Yeah.
actually and looking after us. They're reporting on stuff that's
That they want to. Very
they want
curated.
to.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, it's an easy decision, and we're probably that busy, mate, with
No,
everything that we've got
exactly.
going on that we don't really have time to be sitting around watching TV. So yeah,
Yeah, my understanding of it is they're essentially trying to chuck an extra tax on. So they already taxed them for natural disasters, but they're saying, oh, now we got to tax you for a fire hazard as well that could happen,
yeah, yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
And everyone's up in arms because they're like, well, heck, we actually protect our own farms. We're the ones that come and do the firefighting anyway. And then we actually are the ones that also help you when the national
yeah.
forestry and everything goes up in flames. So how about we all just put our arms down? We won't help you at all, and let's watch the national forestry all just fucking burn then. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just seems like another try to attack at the farms, try grab more farmland, see what they can
Yeah.
free up, and yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then bang wind turbines and solar
Oh,
panels on them.
exactly. Yeah, it's just
Mm,
it seems like we are getting attacked from every angle, like the camping, the fishing, the hunting,
yeah.
even just the farmlands now, like the chickens. God damn it! Like just
Yeah.
let us have some eggs. Like it's forever ongoing. I don't know, it seems like it's ridiculous, but I mean, it kind of is a good little leeway into what you've actually designed with Hooked Up. So all of your YouTube channel is all hooked on life. If anyone wants to check that out, and I would recommend it. But what you've done is gone ahead and created an app it's in the process right now called Hooked Up, and I absolutely love the concept behind it because one of the hardest things I've always found with hunting is getting access, and then the other part is once you've got access, it's also then you become so protective of your
Mm,
access
you don't.
because
Yeah.
you don't want to bring someone on if they're going to be an absolute dickhead and ruin it for you and
Yeah.
or ruin it for anyone else, right? And so as a concept, and I think that's really unfortunately what a lot of Australian hunters are kind of more privy to in the sense of like, well, I'm going to protect what I've got because it took me so long to bloody get it. So as a concept, what you've kind of come up with, I think is really cool. And yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Hooked Up and what it is.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Well, I've obviously, it's in testing right now. We've got it on our phone. So yeah, finally, it's been about 12 months to build.
Hmm.
Been a long process, but yeah, we're very excited to try and change the whole hunting, fishing, camping world in Australia, and then it'll eventually be pushed out overseas. But yeah, we just want to make a platform that pretty much was community based, was all things that we like to share. So as a hunting community, you would see yourself that it's a very small one. Once you start to
Imagine it.
get
Yep.
around and start to meet people and all that, it's a very small community. So yeah, the bow hunting side of it, obviously, I'm very passionate about it. So I wanted that to be part of the app, and the
Mhm.
fishing stuff is where the app sort of originated from.
Yeah,
And
well, I
I'll get
mean, tell us the
into
original
those sort of
story.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 2020, I think it was. I went up to Darwin towing the boat up. Tyler and another mate come with me. And we did we did 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Emma was pregnant with our first one at that time. And she sort of said, go away and, enjoy yourself
Yeah.
before you get home because
Blow the steam off. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're going to be in trouble when you get home sort of thing. Yeah. So we headed up there, did the whole top end and then ended up, it was 2.5 weeks in and the boys were missing their cuddles or whatever the hell was going on at home. So they jumped on a plane and decided to leave me. And I wasn't ready to come home. I was like, I think I want to still do the month, and yeah, I'll just go by myself. I don't really care. I quite easily go out fishing or do everything myself. So I pulled into. I at that stage hadn't really done much at Dundee, so we rolled into Dundee Beach. Oh, when I say me, rolled in Dundee Beach.
Me and my boat. Yeah.
Me and my boat, yeah.
Yeah.
And I must say, my boat after 2.5 weeks of fishing and three blokes that don't like cleaning much, and we drink a lot of beer. It was covered in red dust. There was it was mud and things all over it because we'd been very remote. And I rolled into this caravan park, and you drive in the main entrance, and there's all these flash caravans, and the big Chevy trucks and whatever else are all around there. And I pulled down the back there, and I hopped out of this ute, and I swear to God, it was like I had a big flashing beacon on my head. But everybody just flocked to me, because obviously they were just like, "Geez, this bloke's been some places, and we got to go suss him out." And by the time, within about the first 5 minutes, I had 5 blokes asking me if they could come out with me tomorrow because I don't, they could tell that I was traveling solo. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." But by the third one, I had to say, "Oh, sorry, mate, my boat's full." But
Yeah.
yeah, I started to think to myself, there's something really missing here for people to, that are either traveling or don't have access to equipment or knowledge, or even just, the anxiety around going out and trying something new and not having those experiences.
Mhm.
There's something really, really lacking here. Anyway, I didn't give it too much more thought. I took a couple of blokes out, and I got one bloke 10 odd fish that day, barramundi, I reckon. And he was just like, I never caught a barra before. And it was just like the most amazing thing, and paid for all my fuel and wanted to buy me beer and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next year, I went to the same caravan park, and same thing had happened. The boys had flown home and I was by myself again. And I was going to do 3 more days before I headed home. That was sort of on my way home a little bit, and I'm going to do 3 days on the ocean and get my ocean fix. We'd been on the river systems, hadn't done the ocean, so pulled in there again. Same thing. Everybody flocked to me, wanted to know what's going on. Anyway, once the dust had settled, and I'd said to 2 blokes that I'd take them out, a couple of young fellas behind me had a big ocean boat, and they sort of floated over, and they said, "Oh, we're just waiting for the dust to clear before we come and have a beer with you, mate." And I was like, "Yeah, no worries." They're similar sort of age to me, and we're having a beer, and one was a builder and one was a plumber, I think, from memory. And we actually had a beer, and they were talking about they'd come from Canberra. They'd come the whole way over there with their big, cab over boat to fish Dundee. But all they kept talking about was barramundi. I was like, "Oh, why don't you just go out and chase some barra?" They're like, "Oh, no, we've spoken to all the guides and the people up here, and they're sort of saying this is the wrong time of year to chase them. You want to chase them, And they're like, "Why? Have you caught some this year?" I'm like, "Man, that's all I've caught. Like literally, that's all I've caught to date, and a lot of them." And they're like, "Well, if you take us barra fishing, we'll take you ocean fishing." And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a pretty good deal because I'm in this JS Marine and I'm going to get wet as shit tomorrow. So I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. So I ended up going offshore with those boys, and we had an absolute insane day with jigs. Jewies and Spanish mackerel and things. It was just insane.
Good.
Like it was just the one of the best days fishing I've ever experienced. And it was just a nothing to them. They was like, "Oh yeah, this is," because they're going 70, 80 Ks offshore in their big ocean boat all the time.
Yeah. Wow.
So long story short, ended up taking them to the daily. They experienced the daily. They got barramundi down the daily. Then one of the blokes said that he'd never caught a mud crab before. So then I took them to Saltwater Arms, and we got some crabs there, and they were just like, in disbelief that this had happened to them, because they thought that their chances of catching a barramundi or catching a mud crab were were zero,
Yeah.
from what they'd been told. Anyway, we're still mates now. So we had nicknames for each other and all sorts of stuff, and we're still mates now. So it sort of started to make me think even more. Geez, there's like I facilitated something for them, they facilitated something for me, and we've joined. We've got a group, friendship now,
Camaraderie
and
built and whatever else. Yeah. It's like,
yes, yeah.
yeah.
And I got home from that trip going, geez, there's something missing here. And then it was probably the Facebook book groups and things like that when I started to look at socials, and it was sort of things like, like I said before, I've got screenshots for days of got a heap of hunting property, but no one to hunt with. Anyone out there that's keen? You're like, screenshot that. Or looking for 3 mates wanting to go in the hills this weekend on a bow hunting trip.
Yeah.
Right up there. It just goes on. List goes on for days. Like anybody, know how to get beach worms at SA, like,
Yeah.
things like this. And so I come up with this crazy idea that to build a platform that connects people. It's pretty much a social platform. So it's pretty much Instagram. I guess you would explain it. It's very similar. We want to try and keep it as similar as we could to, platforms that
Something
people
that's
are already
familiar
used to.
already. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, we've put a heap of cool functionalities. I'll talk through. So you obviously got a homepage, just same as Instagram. It's got all your photos and videos and all that sort of stuff. It'll show you how many connections you've got, how many, what your profile picture, all that sort of stuff is very
Yeah.
simple. But there's a couple little special icons there that are one's a bucket list icon. So you can actually create bucket lists and have them saved there, and people can click on your profile and see what your bucket list is.
So like just whatever your best and the biggest, most desired hunts or fishing trips are essentially.
Correct. Yeah. So it could be, for me, it'd be a scrub ball, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
put a bow hunter scrub ball, catch a peacock bass, and probably bow hunt an elk would be
Yeah.
the 3 that would be on top of my list.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa, other people can do the same thing that they've got access to probably doing those things, but they can see what you can facilitate for them. So I'm a cod fisherman. I can catch cod, tomorrow morning if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I can bow hunt pigs. I can, catch yellow belly. I can do all these things. I've got access to property. So the bucket list features can cross over. So you can essentially just tick bucket list items off for each other. So you could, I could take people out to shoot a billy goat tomorrow, and they could take me out to shoot a scrub ball, I guess, is the concept there. And people can actually see what your bucket list items are, and they can see your profile. So you can pretty much stalk people and go, oh, okay, he looks like
Kind
a
of
serial
like
killer.
Tinder.
Let's yeah.
Tinder
So
for
it's been
hunting.
explained.
Yeah.
It's been explained as Tinder, Uber, and Instagram. That's
Yeah.
how our marketing team said, oh, it's pretty much this. And I'm like, oh, a little bit. Yeah. So you can actually look at everybody's profile and know what you're getting into before you even start. And you can start that messaging anyway. So that's one of the functionalities. We've got the one with obviously the experiences at Dundee. We just thought there was a massive gap there for people having access to either gear, experience, opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a functionality that's called open season. So it is you can create one, or you can actually ask to join one. They're all distance located. So for any prime example, I can put in that I'm going fishing at Lock 7 this weekend, chasing yellow belly, if anybody's interested in coming.
Mm-hmm.
And people can jump on there and register to come. You can sieve through who you might want to head out. If there's a couple of boys that love a beer and it looks like they're into footy, yep, they can jump in the boat and potentially pay for your fuel or buy some beers or whatever it is and go and experience that with you. But it's probably going to be more, there's a lot of people that tow big caravans and that these days that can't tow a boat, or people that can't afford a boat. And I've got heaps of mates down the city and that they've got second jobs to pay for these houses that they like to buy these days, or build these days. So for them to be able to make, $100 or even a tank of fuel to take somebody out, snapper fishing for the day, it's like, this is just genius. Like I can literally pay for my own fishing trip by taking somebody else out, and they
Mhm.
get to experience something really cool as well. So
Definitely.
it's just sort of like that crossover of breaking down, any sort of barriers for people that don't have land, gear, experience,
Or traveling to a new
friends,
location. Yeah.
traveling to new locations, all those things. Like this, you can, like I was saying to you earlier, you can get to Brisbane, you can type in 100K radius of Brisbane and it'll show you every single event that's happening within that 100Ks of Brisbane. So anybody that's going fishing for the day, anyone that's going hunting for the day, you can even book trips weeks out if you
Yeah.
want. You can actually literally book trips weeks out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I think especially when I got into spearfishing, I started noticing that a lot of like literally just part of forums and groups and whatever. And essentially, someone will post up, "Hey, I'm going fishing tomorrow. I need 3 people to come with me. Like, I've got my boat. I'm taking you out. Doesn't matter if you don't have a boat license. If you do, even better. But if you don't,
Mm.
it's all good. I'm going out anyway. So if anyone wants to join me, jump on in." And it's like you don't even see it. You'll see it 3 days later. And
Yeah.
you're like, "God damn it, I was
Yeah. There
about."
it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, like solving that is a really cool thing. What's the camping element of it?
Yeah, so the camping, so it's camping and caravanning. So it's pretty much there'll be forums on there. So we've got another functionality is the forum functionality. You can start a forum or be involved in a forum. We're potentially going to get experts to be on these forums answering questions in certain fields. So it could be
Yeah, cool.
hunting fields, fishing fields, camping fields. But yeah, so it'd be camping locations. There could be updates on where the fuel's the cheapest on the way up the center, or
Mhm.
where there's dump points, where there's access to water. All that sort of stuff will be within the forums.
Yep.
Big thing with camping these days is that a lot of younger people do caravanning,
Yep.
and they love to link with other people that have kids so they can actually
Yeah,
travel
cool.
together and have that interaction with other kids. So
Yep.
to be able to connect with a like-minded people that you want to actually travel with, or as simple as a backpacker coming down back from Darwin back to Victoria that
Yep.
needs 2 people to jump in to pay for fuel, like that they can literally jump on there and
Link up
and
with it.
and link up. Yep. And
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, so the caravanning thing, there's every second person's got a caravan these days. So
Mm.
we're thinking, we don't, if when you're actually signing up to the app and you're logging in first up, you can actually click whatever you want to see. So if you don't want to see hunting because you're a fisherman and you're not into hunting, you don't have to tick hunting. You
Mhm.
can just tick fishing and camping. If you want to tick all three, tick all three. If you want to give us advice on what the next one should be, by all means, hit other and type it in there. People have
Yep.
gone, why aren't you doing it for golf? Why aren't you doing it for this? Why aren't you doing it for that? I'm like, because I want to, we want to focus on what we're
Sub niche
passionate
first.
about
Yeah,
and
exactly.
what we want to, what we want to achieve here first. And so you can literally there's no, at the moment, there's no, so the explore page, it's pretty much just like Instagram. So you can explore everybody else's, what they're up to.
Yep.
If you,
Where they can essentially post pictures of, "Hey, this is my recent hunting," or "This is the fish I caught on the weekend." Yeah.
yep, yep, yep. Ask questions, all that sort of stuff. So it can be
Mhm.
all on there. There's videos, so it's video and photos. So
Yep.
it's both. A lot of people, a lot of apps these days only do photos because of the streaming and the cost
Definitely.
behind yep, and
Yeah.
the speeds and all that sort of stuff. But we wanted to, yeah, I thought it was very important with it, especially the the fishing and the hunting side of it.
It's like such a big part of it, right? And
Yep,
that's what draws
yep,
you in. Like I always
yeah,
get stuck on Instagram watching fishing and they
yeah,
hook up. You're like, what are they hooked up on? Like, what is it though? I gotta see. They're blinding
yeah.
it for ages. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
geez.
you're like, oh, come on, where's that dopamine hit? I
Yeah,
need it, I need it, I
exactly.
need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the explore page, yeah, literally, there's no ads, there's no rubbish of, oh, all I want to see is, like mate said to me the other day, so you're telling me all I'm going to see is bow hunting and fishing. I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is unreal. This is
Yeah.
all I want to look at. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's no more ads of whatever that you've Googled that week that's
Mhm.
popping up on your history. There's none of that. We got another pretty cool feature that we think a lot of people are going to like. It's called link connections.
Mhm.
So if I know someone in Darwin and I know Matty, you're heading up there, we've become mates now. We've been talking for a bit. You want to hunt a buffalo? I've got a mate in Darwin that's got access to that.
Mm.
Instead of this awkwardness of me going, hey, Matty, here's his phone number,
Yeah,
give
yeah.
him a random call and see if he knows who Josh Forster is, like,
Yeah.
those phone calls that I've been there before. Don't worry. I've made plenty of phone calls when it goes, yeah, I know that fella. Yeah, give him a call. And he'll ring him and go, do you know? No,
Nah,
never,
never heard that
no.
last name. Yeah.
And who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can literally tap you and the mate in Darwin. I can press send link, and then it'll ask me to write a message, and I'll say, hey, Matty, this is Barry. Barry, Matty's wanting to come up, Hunter Scrub Ball. Yeah, cheers, Forster.
Yeah,
And
wow.
it'll send you both a direct message together,
Yep.
and then you'll start the chat from there.
Yeah, how good.
And yeah, so it's just breaking down barriers, mate. With COVID fucked everything,
Mhm.
and we have gotten so disconnected. I go to a pub now, and everyone's looking at their phone and not talking to each other. It's
It's crazy.
craziness, and
Yeah.
we literally can't even start a conversation with people anymore. And
Mm.
we just hope that this breaks a little bit of that down, where we can actually go. There's been a meeting before the awkwardness of whatever, so you've already been in a conversation, and you know what you can and can't do, or what's acceptable, or whatever it is that you're going to do, and it's all been negotiated before you show up.
Definitely. I mean, even just as a information side of things, like not even if you're teeing someone up for a hunt, but the amount of times that people hit me up on Instagram, like, hey, what can you tell me about this? I'm like, look, I'm not the person for it, but what you should do is go and look up, and I'm like, fuck, what's their handle?
Yeah.
So I've typed this whole message. I have to jump out, go
Yeah.
find their handle. I'm like, that's right. Go back in, retype the message because usually it fades away or whatever. And you're like, oh, so you go and see this person. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool little function just for even like, yeah, sharing information around stuff.
Yeah, definitely, and it might even be that you're linking, like, it's not you don't might never need anything off of these guys, but it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, mate, you're broken down somewhere. You ring fucking
Yeah.
somebody, and they go, oh yeah, and then you start a direct message. It's like, it's just breaking down that barrier, and we think that that's going to be a pretty cool feature of the app, and you'll probably it also, it's not that awkwardness. Like, you've been, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like recommended by a
Yeah,
friend that's
exactly.
actually like a loyal
Breaking the
friend that
ice very easily. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it's like it breaks down that, rather than that awkward phone call or that awkward text message that you never get a return, message from, because they go, "Who the hell is this? And what does he want?"
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah. The old recommendation is a good way to go about things. Like, to be honest, so much of my work, my business stuff comes just from recommendations through network. And then even like, yeah, so much of the podcast, to be honest, I'll talk to people and afterwards I'm like, hey, who's a friend that I should interview? And they're like, oh, you should get in touch with this person or this person. So
yeah,
it's interesting how it does just have it breaks down that barrier. Like you're saying, just so much, it gives you that confidence straight away. Like, okay, if they're vetting them, I'm good to go.
yeah. Like you mentioned, Jack Spinks,
Yep.
mentioning me, and it could have been literally Jack could have gone bang Matty, bang Josh. Hey boys,
Yep.
Josh is doing some cool stuff here, Matty, and
Yeah, that's pretty
you
much
would have
what it
had that
was
connection.
anyway. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it
like
probably would
it
have
was
been.
like he's like, oh,
Uh,
if you want to, because I was trying to interview Jack and Benny on the podcast, and some stuff
yep.
happened, and we couldn't make it work when we were going to. And he goes, but if you need a podcast this week, you should help Josh.
Yeah, no, he's they're doing some cool stuff, those boys. Yeah,
Definitely, yeah. I mean,
obviously.
Jabstick's one of my sponsors on the podcast, and yeah, I
Yep.
love their arrows. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He's he said to me the other day, he's like, "Oh mate, you putting a fair bit of stuff up, and obviously we went to the same school and played footy together and all that sort of stuff, and local boy. He's a bit younger than me, but yeah, he said, oh, yeah, I'll do it at cost price for you or whatever. I was like, Jack, it doesn't phase me, mate. An extra $20 or whatever, 30
yeah.
bucks, whatever. I don't care, mate. He's like, yeah, good, because fuck you, go through some arrows. And I was like, he's like, at one point I was hitting him up for glow knocks because I was getting low on glow knocks, and he's just like, do you not even go fucking look for your arrows or something? Come on, mate, don't be like that. There's a lot of pigs here. He's like, yeah, no, obviously.
A lot of glowing pigs.
A lot of glowing pigs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
glowing dead pigs. Yeah, that's hilarious.
They're having a crack, those boys. I love it.
But
It's
I love
awesome.
that they're actually not even in it for the money as well. It
Yeah.
was like it was out of a desire to have arrows and make sure that the
Yeah.
friends had arrows, and that's the whole concept behind what they wanted to do. And I am in, yeah, I haven't shared their story much yet, and I'm excited to have them on the podcast to even talk about it because it was very just pretty much a desire to, hey, well, if I'm at the stage of not being able to get arrows, or not even not get arrows, but like forking out a ridiculous amount just to be able to fuel this passion that we have, it shouldn't cost us an arm and a leg to be able to do it. So why not
Yeah.
keep it cheap and make it available for everyone? And then the fact that they give 13 and a dozen, like that's a pretty big
Yeah.
thing in itself. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's cool. Everything that they do, it speaks volumes. Like they did a big giveaway for during the at the start of the rut. It was essentially like, hey, Dob, you mated was
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
concept of like, if your mate can't afford arrows
Yeah.
and it's stopping him from going out hunting, let us give him some arrows instead. And I thought that was just
Yeah.
such a cool concept as well. And I mean, it takes a big person to be able to say, hey, I'm in a position of hurt right now and I can't get
Yeah.
out because I'm not in a good financial state. But if your mate's going to dob you in, then it makes it a little bit
Yeah,
easier, I
it
guess.
makes it easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually Jackie boy, when he did that spill, he was wearing the hooked up jumper and I said, "Oh, thanks, mate. Good man." And he goes, "Yeah, I was fucking sweating bullets in that shed, but I was determined to get it done." I was like, "Yeah, good man,
That's
good man."
hilarious. Yeah. No, I think what you're doing is really cool, man. It's like you said, I think there's definitely a need for it, a desire for it, and I think if it does help just to connect more like-minded people, like the biggest thing is I've always found, in particular, getting into bow hunting, is that I don't think I've met a bow hunter that I don't like. Like pretty much
Yeah.
all the bow hunters I talk to, we get on like a house on fire because you've got so much common ground straight away. And
Yep.
even if
Yep.
you don't see eye to eye on everything, you've got this one thing that's like the driving light that you just talk about nonstop, and you're like, yeah, fucking bow hunting,
Yeah.
how good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree, mate. It's like it's a small community, like I said earlier, but it gets disconnected because of those restraints of property or even just friends to go with. Like in my area, mate, if Tyler's he's an hour and a half to 2 hours away,
Yeah,
and yeah, if Paul's got family commitments because his young fellas are go-karters and playing footy and everything, I'm by myself,
yeah.
and I'm literally, there's no one else. Jack's in my area, but I don't hunt with Jack because he probably show me up too much, and I don't think he still pulls a piss that I'm not using a recurve
Of course.
and using these big sights and these big cams, but yeah, so it's pretty much
It's not
it.
worth
I've
the
gotten
bullying.
there's yeah, definitely not. No. And he's a bigger boy than me. He'll probably bash me. Yeah. Yeah. So there's actually, a few boys that I work with that now they're getting into bow hunting.
Mhm.
Yeah, big fella up the road here. I've gotten him into bow hunting, and he's loving it. He just shot a 107 kilo ball the other day, so
How good.
he was pretty pumped. Yeah, we got it up in the air. It was 107, and Tyler got a 106 about 2 weeks before that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it's starting to, a little bit now that I'm sort of doing it a bit more and promoting it a bit more because even before the app. So this is so funny because a lot of people that know me quite well know that I'm very secretive about fishing, about bow hunting and all that sort of stuff. And so when we decided to build the app, M's like, you've got to start to do like a bit of a social presence and build like a bit of a brand before the app comes out, so people sort of half know who you are and know what you're about,
Yeah.
and you probably should do some YouTube or some. I didn't even have Instagram prior to
Yeah.
9 months ago or 10 months ago, so
Yeah.
I literally started that, and people like that know me are like, what the fuck's wrong with him? He doesn't even tell you where the shrimp are running, let alone putting stuff on TV. Yeah, this is a bit weird, and we didn't tell anyone we were building an app until literally only a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
We just didn't want, like you either want, people want to be involved for the wrong reasons,
Hmm.
or you'll get a lot of negativity,
Yeah.
or you get people that, this tall poppy syndrome in Australia is just
It's very
ridiculous,
interesting,
and
isn't
it,
it?
and it
Yeah.
and it just pisses me off. And yeah, so we just didn't want any of that. We didn't want any distractions. We knew what we were trying to do and how we wanted to do it
Yeah.
and what it was going to achieve for people, and we didn't care what the cost was. Obviously, yeah, obviously, because we've gone through with it. A lot of people talk shit and have a lot of things that they're going to do, but we actually said, nah, you know what? This is missing. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've done it. But yeah, everyone's sort of just like, oh, it all makes sense now. I thought you'd lost your mind. You're actually shooting pigs and putting it on TV. Like, you don't tell anybody where the pigs are, or yeah. So
That's hilarious.
it's
But it
it's
is
been
true,
quite funny.
like your wife is very onto it in the sense of building a personal brand. Like you look at what even like some of the Kardashians were able to do, right? They've got this massive fame behind them, and then they start an eyeline company or like
Yeah,
a makeup company, and it turns into $1 billion company within the
yeah,
first 6 months. You're like, oh, like personal branding is a big thing. It is very interesting to watch. It just also takes a lot of time and effort. So it's like,
yeah,
if you can
yeah.
be bothered, it's worth it. But yeah, at the
It
same time,
it does. It does. And like credit to you too, mate. Like you started off from zero. You didn't even really know anybody in the industry at the time,
yeah.
and you started off. And I remember Tyler actually said to me that he listened to the first few that you did,
Mm,
um, back ages ago before he was even a bow hunter. And he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, I remember that. Like that was yeah." And it's crazy that you've been able to do, and you've built yourself up now to most people. If I mention the podcast to a bow hunter, they know who you are and
Yeah,
what you're
that's
about.
wild.
So yeah,
It still seems
it's
so
pretty cool.
crazy to me. And I look at the numbers that we get. I was actually at a business event once, and I was talking to them about like some of the plays, listens and stuff we get, and someone said to me like, "That's half a football stadium that listens to
Yeah,
you." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, just
yeah,
putting it into that context, you're like, "Oh, that's wild!" Like, just to even
yeah,
think that that's the thing, and it's just me sitting in my office every week or
yeah,
whatever, having a conversation about things I love. It's cool to see that it can grow that much. And what was funny is when I very first wanted to start it. I was so afraid of like in the sense of almost like the tall poppy stuff, and it's more so like what are people going to think? I'm like, oh fuck it, like I want to learn
oh, yeah,
anyway. And it was funny. I asked my one friend who I knew who bow hunted. I was like, hey, what do you think this would go down like? And he's like, I don't know, give it a try. And then yeah,
yeah. That's cool.
back
So
minute
you had a
started,
had
and
a crack, had a crack.
yeah,
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 love
it's
that.
just the consistency what always pays off, right?
Yeah, you've got to have a go. If you're passionate about something and there's nothing worse than regrets in life, and we
Oh,
we only get
exactly.
one of them. So you got to
Yeah,
have a go, and we're having a crack at this, and we're hoping that it helps a lot of people out, and yeah, it breaks down our membership. The platform's going to be a membership. I think we spoke about that earlier, but it's very hard to monetize something, yeah, through sponsors and all that sort of stuff early. So it was like, how is it easily to monetize? So it's pretty much just going to be a subscription. And
yeah,
but with that, we're going to be giving away quarterly giveaways that'll be experiences. So we want people to
amazing.
experience all these things that I get to do every year, the trips up north, all that sort of stuff. So there'll be, we're going to fly people up to Darwin or all around the place to remote fish for Barra
Yeah,
for a
wow,
week. Potentially, yeah, we're going to be sending people over to New Zealand bow hunting and yeah, stuff like that. So
so
it's all
good.
about experiences. It's not, we're not setting a model out there where we're giving away a car or we're giving away this. We're sort of like that. If sponsors want to jump on board and they're going to give us cars, that's fine. But
Yeah,
what I'm saying is we want to give away experiences for people so they can get out there and
I can get
experience
to
some of the cool stuff that we've been
live
able to
live
do.
the cool life that we get to often.
Yeah.
It's so interesting when you talk to people that don't even really have any of a concept of the outside world or the bush or fishing or hunting or anything, and all of a sudden they're like, "What do you mean you were diving in the water and you shot this fish?" Or what do you mean there's deer in Australia? Like it blows my mind. Definitely the ignorance of people, but then also like I'll talk to friends that are very that way inclined, and they're like I put a picture up of me holding a moth the other day. I'm like, oh, how do you even do that stuff? I'm
Yeah,
like,
you maniac.
yeah, exactly. Like it's a moth. Like it's not going to hurt you. It's all good. But yeah, it is just so interesting that, and I think just getting more people out in the bush and out in nature. And I mean, what I find often is that people without a purpose or without passion, that they don't have a hobby or something to just
Mm,
indulge their life in a little bit and give that little bit of joy back. They are sad sacks of people, and they're
yeah,
just like, I'm like, I always see them. I'm like, bro, you just need to get into something. Like, just find yourself a hobby. I don't care what it is. Like, get into knitting if that's your thing. Like, I don't
yeah,
care. Just find something that you can put your heart into.
yeah. Sitting on a couch isn't a hobby. It's
No,
yeah, and I don't know what bow hunting does for you, mate. Though I'm, my job's pretty stressful at times, and it builds, a lot of obviously, anxiety and pressure and all that sort of stuff and whatever
hmm
goes with it. But for me, when I get to go out bush, I sort of know when I need it to. Like I actually
definitely. It
know,
builds up,
like I
doesn't
can,
it?
yeah, it builds
Yeah.
up, and it's like this neck tension and this urge, and am, being, all across, emotional intelligence and all that sort of stuff. She's just
Uh-huh.
like, she accepts that the way that I operate and, being, highly strung and highly, focused and all that sort of stuff, that I need to go. And it's like, doesn't matter, just go.
Yeah.
And to get out there and just, even lay on your swag and look at the stars or whatever it is, and
Mhm.
and listen to, the noises and reset your whole nervous system. It's like, I don't know, it's, you get back and you're fully focused on your family again and all the
Yeah.
things that, instead of looking at your phone or doing dumb shit like that, it's just like that reset. And people, regardless of whether you like hunting or not, just to be able to go out into the bush and light a fire and just sit around
Mm.
it and look at the
Be,
stars or whatever.
be
It's
forced to be off your phone. Like if you don't have reception, that's so powerful. I find when you take someone out who's always on their phone, and then all of
yeah,
a sudden you get out and you're like, oh, no reception. You may as well leave that behind. Like,
yeah, yeah, and yeah, give it here. I'm putting it in the glove box. But yeah,
yeah.
it's, for me, that is 100% why bow hunting is such a big
Oh,
part of
definitely,
my
man. I
life,
can
and it will be
100%
forever.
relate. Yeah, yeah. And it is interesting when I had that realization of, oh no, this is a forever thing. It stopped putting as much pressure on myself as well when I was out hunting. Like I used to always be in that rush situation that you were talking about right at the very start of like,
Mm,
oh, you got to
mm,
get this, got to make it happen. And I was like, you know what? If it doesn't happen this time, that's all good. I'm still going to try my ass off and make sure that I give it my best shot. But bow hunting's going to kick your ass every day, and so it's like that
yeah,
hardship that it throws your way is also it's very enticing in the sense of what it does for your growth as a human and what it can do for your patience. Like the amount of patience I've learned from bow
yeah,
hunting is
yeah,
ridiculous. It's
yes.
made me a much better father, I think, in that long run as well.
Well, a prime example of that is this year, the first day that I went out on the rut.
Hmm.
First morning, I got up at 3:30, drove, an hour and a half, 2 hours to the property. It's got red deer on it.
Yeah.
I rolled in there, walked in, found a 6x6 in the first hour that was 43 meters from me, perfect broadside, standing in the sun. And I sat there and I thought, I can't shoot that deer. I've never shot a red. So I don't know why the hell, I'll probably regret it for the rest of my life. But it was the first hour on the first day of rut. And where do you go from there? Like for me, it was like, okay, so then I'm going to get home. And Em's going to go, you've
You're
shot your
done.
deer this year. So
Yeah, yeah.
you
You're
sweet.
good,
But
mate.
nah,
Yeah.
yeah, she would have been fine. But it's more like, for me, it was like, there hasn't been a full lead up to this. Like I need to work a bit for
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
opportunity. And yeah, I literally let him walk. He just crossed the creek in front of me and walked away. And I thought, what the hell just happened then? And why did I do that? And it was 43 meters. Like I'll hit a 10-cent piece at that when with how tuned you are, when you're leading into the rut, because you're so
Shooting all the time
determined
and
to be
yeah, yeah.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it was just because I hadn't. It was
You
just going
hadn't
to
earned it
ruin the
yet in your
next.
head.
It
Yeah.
was going to ruin the next month for me. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was like, well,
So
yeah, I
hilarious.
want to work for it, and I want it all to happen on the last day. And then when I speak to people like Jack and that, he's like, "You're a fucking idiot,"
Yeah, yeah.
because you don't pass up on a buck that you'd shoot on the last, that
That
you're happy to shoot on
opportunity.
the
Yeah,
last day. I'm like,
exactly.
no, you're probably right, but
It's so funny.
um,
I honestly feel like, and I don't know if I really expressed this ever on the podcast, but when I very first shot a deer, I was like, that was so easy. Like, why is it
yeah,
taking me this long to do? But it's
to do.
because, yeah, when it actually comes together, like it is easy, and it is just like, oh, not easy, but it's like it works, right? And so when it
Yeah,
doesn't work, you're like, you beat yourself up over this or that or whatever it else it could be, but really, it's probably just the wind at the end of the day or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
100%. But I
yeah,
guess I got paid back though in the end. So this big fella sitting behind me, he's a quite a handy. He doesn't look very big in that photo though, but he
nah,
was
he
a
does. He's got
very
some
he
big
was
old
a
paddles on him.
yeah, he was a big boy. But crazy story. I'll tell you the story about that one. So it was pretty much end of rut this year.
Yep.
Had an opportunity to go back out. Rang a mate. He said, "Yeah, I've been seeing a few on the arse end of this property. There's a little bit of a creek. You can't access it though. So if you want to access it, you're best to do it by boat.
Mm.
So boat down your little tinny, whatever. Yeah, yeah, no worries. Anyway, or you can walk 6Ks around. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, no, probably better
That's
off
a
just
boat.
taking a little bit boat. So dropped the little boat in at like 3 o'clock in the arvo, and my brother gets like vertigo.
Mm.
Um, hates boats, just won't get in a fucking boat. He's just like, no, I'm not doing the boat. So he had to walk around. But of course, I've got the gear, I've got the swags and that we're going to camp in, and I've got our water and whatever else, food and everything. So I've boated down, got to the point that we wanted to camp out to meet and then hunt from there. Anyway, I've gotten this boat, and it's not a very big boat. It's this little tinny electric motor. Got down there, started to drag all the stuff up the bank, and I started to look at like on the edge of the creek, and there's all this foot traffic, and it looked like deer foot traffic. So I thought, you know what? I think I'll like drag some of this stuff a lot higher in case they use this as a bit of a yeah. So sweating bullets dragging this boat up this bank. And anyway, I dragged it up and got it up about 50, 60 meters up on the bank and brought all our camping gear up and sat down, and I'm huffing and puffing. And I thought, righto, it's about 4 o'clock. I better chuck some camos on. Paul will be not far away and we'll go hunting. Anyway, I put my pants on. I stand up and I look to my left, and all I can see is the big fella's head just coming through the trees on the edge of the creek.
Yeah, wow.
I've just gone, what the where did he come from, and how did he not hear that boat get dragged up that bank like 30 seconds earlier?
Yeah.
So I've got no gear on. I don't even have camo on at that point. I've got a hooked up hoodie on, green hoodie on.
Yeah.
So then I'm like panicking. I don't even have my trigger on my wrist or anything. So I'm going through my bag. I'm grabbing shit. Grab the rangy out of the bino harness. Whack the trigger on. Sort of ranged the water's edge a couple of times, about 30 meters. So I thought, okay, I'll wait till he walks past. Then he's got to where the boat and everything's been dragged up, and he's sort of like, "Ooh, something here. I can smell something here." Yeah. And then he's gone. So I've sort of ducked to my left and got behind a log. He's just come straight up the bank at me, like walking, and he's coming straight at me. I'm like, and I don't like taking frontal shots on deer when they're moving. If he was stationary, I'd be okay because he was moving. So I let out a little hind call, and he sort of he went sort of turned sideways to actually look at the hind call, but he's still coming at me with pace. So I've just let him have it. And I'm guessing the range at that point, because I've set me bow. I've got a Spot Hog 3 stacker, and I've set it on 30 instead of just using the center pin like I train all the time for. Go, he's going to walk past that creek. So I'm guessing the range, and he's coming straight at me hot, and he's just turned enough, and I've fed an arrow in him at about 15 meters, and it's hit him, in the lungs. Like it hit him in the top of the shoulder and then turned and went into his guts, but it must have taken out both lungs.
Yeah.
And he literally jumped me, went over the top of me, and then took off, jumped the boat pretty much, and then kept running. And he got about 70 meters, and I just saw him doing cartwheels. And I was like the adrenaline of not having time to build the adrenaline up and that, it was just like, once it all happened, then it just hit me, and I was just like, what the fuck has just happened? And yeah, anyway, I ring Paul. No, at that point, Paul had texted me and said, don't bother rattling because they just fucking run away. so he'd come across a couple and try to rattle at that point, which was not my advice at all. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, he had a crack at that and they ran away. But yeah, he's just like, whoa, what's going on? I'm just like, I've literally shot one out of my deck chair, mate. He's like, fucking what? And yeah, so I think I think back to that red stag, and I think that I passed that one up, but later they paid that. Yeah, redemption was just sort of like, and this fella, mate, his teeth were falling out.
Wow.
His back end was just like when I was boning him out. His back end was just non-existent almost. Like
that's crazy.
So he was done. Like that was as good as he was going to be. And yeah, he might have seen another one, but I doubt it. Yeah, he was that poor. And that top left-hand one, it's as like it's foot and a half wide. Like he was a big wide one. I wish he was more even on the other side, but yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah, that's crazy. He looks like you can see the actual fold in the paddle as well.
Yep.
It like curves around. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, he was a big fella. He's the biggest fellow I've shot. And down at the bases, like I've got other heads hanging on the wall there, but you can't see them. But you can fit your hand around the bases of them. This thing
Yeah.
you can't fit your hand around. Like
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it still had velvet on it in spots, which is
Interesting.
crazy.
Wonder if
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
couldn't get to it or something.
yeah. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was still in cracks and crevices. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
was
Wow.
when I was dressing him up. Yeah.
That's super cool. And so did
Hmm.
you see many other deer for the rest of the trip or?
Nah, so we got in on one other buck that wasn't probably, mature. He was bit small, bit skinny.
Yeah.
Paul, we had a crack at trying to get in front of him because they weren't responding. They were pretty much done
Yeah.
by that
Okay.
that time. So we couldn't get them to come to us. We were actually trying to pick lines that they were gonna walk to.
Yeah.
So yeah, Paul didn't get to fire an arrow, but sitting in camp that night on the deck chair again, Paul turns his headlight on and there's a fox sitting 20 meters from us, just laying
No
down,
way.
looking at us. So I reached over, grabbed my bow, put it in, and whopped him from 20 meters out of my deck chair again. So I was just like, this hunting thing's easy, mate.
You
I
should
don't
take your
know.
deck chair with you more often.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
But I rang the property owner and he was just like, yeah, right. He's like, yeah, I thought they might have been walking along the creek a bit, but I didn't think you'd shoot one the first 5 minutes. He said,
No.
I haven't seen bugger all. And he goes, once the crop pops up, they actually, come out of the bush, then they start picking on his crop. He's
Yeah, of
got sort of
course.
flood irrigation there. And yeah, he likes to keep the numbers down a little bit. So he is quite happy for us to head in there and, yeah, take a
Book a
couple. But
few. Yeah.
we're next year, I think I'll just target, does I think next year. I think that'll be the plan.
Yeah. What,
Yeah,
in the
not
rut or beforehand?
just beforehand. Yeah,
Yeah.
just not try to get a few numbers of them down because there's that many does. There's not many bucks, and there's not like they're not active. Like they're not
No, yeah. I
crazily
mean,
active.
really, for your herd to grow and be better in regards to genetics, like it should be a 3 to 1, but 3 does to
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Or like I did a podcast with the Fieldland Wapiti like herd management guy,
yeah,
Roy Sloan, and he was telling me that they do a 1.1 to 1. So essentially,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
one girl for every one boy is essentially the
yeah.
number. 1.1 girls to one male, and they said that that has just grown the Wapiti, like the quality of the antler
Hmm.
has
Hmm.
just like skyrocketed since then.
Yeah, well, here it'd be 6 to 1, or
Yeah,
even
yeah.
better. Like, or even, and the Reds would be 10 to 1.
Wow, yeah, that's
Even
crazy.
even worse. Like, yeah, that
And big
that
numbers of
that
reds as well, or not really?
not not really, mate. The property, I've got 3 or 4 properties that are in our area, and people will go, "Geez, I know where Josh is from. Where the hell are the Reds?" But there is actually Reds in our area,
Yep.
in certain places, but the numbers just aren't there. You might see, if you see a mob of say 10, you're doing like real well. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yep.
like that's a big mob. But yeah, they are there. And like I said, I hunted that property 4 times after that and never saw
I saw again.
anything again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And never even, I heard uh, roaring on 2 days, and both times they were on the neighbors, and they
Yeah.
were calling back to me, but they wouldn't
Wouldn't
move
move.
what they had going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't get a chance on a red this year either. And I'd only, do you know the way those properties come about? The owner's son watched me on YouTube, and
No
they
way.
actually reached out and said, we like what you do, and we know that you're not too big a
Jerk.
flog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, the young fella's keen to see if you want to come out. And I was,
Wow.
yeah, no worries at all. And I went out there, and yeah, now I, yeah, know those fellas, and they're great. And yeah, let us on there, and I've shot, yeah, plenty of stuff on there now, which is cool.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I think like really the same for me as a platform. Like I've met some really cool people. They've taken me out hunting with them. Like got that sort of access before, which is just wild. Like the
Mm.
fact of I don't know. It still blows my whole mind to be honest. Like I still feel like why,
Yeah.
but I appreciate it. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, yeah, and obviously you're bringing, with the listens and things that you're getting, and the people that you get on, these experts and these people that are highly educated in bow hunting, all it does is promote the sport. So,
Definitely, and
hats off to all you guys. Like I love it. I love, listening, and I love learning, and some of the people you've had on, I've been bow hunting for 20 plus years, and I go, oh shit, I didn't even think of that, or I didn't see that,
mm,
or I didn't
yeah,
know that. And You go, wow, like I'm still getting educated now when it comes to bow hunting.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I just kind of see it now as like really what can we do to preserve it? How
Mm.
can this help to preserve it? And I know we're bringing in new bow hunters all the time because they reach out to me, they thank me for it, and they ask advice and stuff, which I just absolutely love. But in my eyes, I'm like, yeah, how can we keep preserving it and making sure that it is safe for generations to come? Like my girls talk about wanting to come out bow hunting with me. I'm like, yes, and how do we get your
Yeah,
kids to go out bow hunting
yeah,
and whatever
yeah,
else?
yeah,
Yeah, how can I
yeah,
be the granddad that gets to take kids out bow hunting? Like
yeah,
that's my
yeah.
plan.
Yeah, and it's very important. It's a very important sport, and it's the greatest sport in the world. I think it's
Mm.
yeah, it's when you break it all down into little parts of what it all means.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. The
being able to harvest something and then go home and serve it up and all that sort of stuff is pretty cool.
definitely. Yeah, we had goat curry tonight from a goat that I shot on the weekend, and that's just
Yeah,
it's so good. Like I love that. I mean, we literally pretty much live off of wild game. Like I haven't really this year at the start of the year because I didn't get to hunt very much for pretty much November through to April. I didn't hunt, or the end of March it was, and so that was the longest I'd gone without hunting in since starting the podcast 6 years ago. And
yeah, right.
of that time, probably 3+ years have been not really buying that much meat. Like I'd say
Mm,
85% of our meat comes from
yep,
the hunting that
yep.
I do. So we eat wild game all the time. But yeah, it was just cool to get it. I haven't even frozen it, just straight off of the esky,
Yeah.
straight in. It was good.
We
Very tasty.
Tyler and I had a crack at the goat heart not that long ago, and
Oh yeah.
we didn't cook it. We just put it in lemon juice and then had it on biscuits with a bit of
Interesting.
tomato and onion, and it was delicious.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got a lot of hate from friends that are goat farmers. They're just like, "You fucking sicko! What are you? You're eating goat heart?" Yeah, literally just diced it up into fine, strips and put it in lemon and let it cure for a little bit, like we
Yeah,
do with
wow.
our
Like a
with our
ceviche.
fish. Yeah,
Yep.
like a ceviche, and yeah, just had it on biscuits. It was bloody delicious, melt in your mouth, sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's
So
incredible. Oh, you
yeah,
convinced me. Done. I'll
yeah, have a
try
crack at it.
it.
It's really good. But yeah, I don't. We always do salami, and during
Oh
that
yeah.
process of salami, we go out and harvest a deer, usually with the rifle, so we can select the one that we want to
You want,
harvest
yeah.
properly.
Yep.
Yeah, and we take that, and me and a mate that's just gotten into bow hunter that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, we do sausages and burgers, and
Mm.
yeah, and all, then take the deer for the good cuts. But yeah, so every year and that's our sausages for the year.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
and
What
then
do you mix in with it?
yeah, so we just do like we go down to Sandhurst Butchers down in Bendigo and just get all of our mixes there, and then we'll just add, our own chilies and own,
But like, do you just add like a brisket or something in with it, or what do you do for fat
yeah,
cut-ins?
pig fat. Yeah,
Pig fat.
so
Yeah, cool.
yeah, so when we're doing the salami, we'll actually just take the fat off the pig and just mix it in with him while we're doing the sausages.
So tell me about the salami because I've never done it. I've done dry force before, like
Yep.
drying the sausage, but I've never because it is a smoking process, isn't it?
Nah, no, just a hanging. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we literally kill the pig. We hang it for you can hang it for about 2 or 3 days till it sets properly.
Yep.
Usually, mate's got pigs, so we only target about 100 kilo pig because there's only two of us that are doing it. So we don't
Yep.
want salami for days that we're not going to eat. Yeah, we get about 100 kilo pig, maybe. Sorry, 200 kilo pig. Um, and then so when we're cutting them up properly, we'll get about 100 kilo pig. So yeah, about a 200 kilo pig. It's got enough fat on it that that you're going to have access for the deer sausages.
Yep.
And then we'll pretty much mince it up. The biggest mistake I made was just running a standard mincer, and it used to take forever. But last year we forked out a bit of cash and bought a big industrial one, and now
Yeah,
we can just
awesome.
pile like she's just punching through now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we mince it all up. We separate it into 25 odd kilo batches, and then we
Mm.
mix all of the mix, like the salami mixes through, and then we just
Yep.
add the people use salt, people use nitrate, whatever whatever their preference is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
water and
do your mixes have salt or a cure of some sort in them?
no, so no, we actually add the cure.
Salt.
Yep,
Yeah, oh,
yep, the
yeah.
salt. Yeah, so they probably have some form of, because it's pretty much just a sausage mix what
Yeah.
you're using for salami. Yeah, so then we add nitrate. It's just easier. We're not using bulk salt, but you're only
Yeah.
using tiny little bit of nitrate. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably worse for you, but it seems better because it's a less quantity that I'm putting in there instead of putting kilos of salt in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then literally we've got a big press that we put all the mince in, and then we
Yeah.
just put our skins on the end, and then we punch them out, and then we zip tie them and hang them. And when they lose about a third of their weight, that's pretty much when you know that they're good to
Ready to
go.
go.
So
No way.
yeah, and yeah, we haven't had a bad. Or we had one year that was a little bit. We I got home from Darwin late, and it was like end of July, August, and we
Yeah.
did one then, and we got a bit of molding then. But the other ones that we've done in late June with the
Like
cold
a
weather.
white mold or a black mold on them.
No, we had a bit of black mold that year. We had to
Yeah.
use like
Okay.
a vinegar rub and everything to get it
Yeah.
off. But yeah, this year, the last sort of 4 or 5 years that we've done it in the right times, it's all been white mold and been perfect.
Right times being during winter.
Yeah, for us down here, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 For
Okay.
you guys up there, you'd probably nearly need a cool room or
Yeah,
some
I
sort of
was wondering
fan.
that. Like I've had issues doing biltong even
Yep,
with the
yep,
humidity being wrong. I recently got
yep,
myself a little commercial dryer. I think the brand's like commercial dehydrators or something.
yep,
And that's been great because I can do jerky or biltong all year round now. Because it keeps the humidity correct,
yep.
it gets your temperatures all right, and that was perfect in the sense of yeah, I just did some literally just got some rump steak the other day that I had left over in my fridge or my freezer. And I just salted it and chucked it in and left it for 3 days, 4 days, and it was just like the most incredible thing. I'm like,
How
heck,
good
that's
is it?
like the
Yeah,
easiest thing to make rather than having to
yeah.
do full batters and whatever else, or yeah, your mixtures. So it was good.
Yeah, Rob does the same thing. He does the biltong stuff, and yeah, I grab that and I'm yeah, love it. It's good. It's good, and yeah, he uses like he actually used the other day a corned beef that we'd
Mm.
done and did it out of that, and yeah, that was pretty tasty too. And
Did he
actually,
like it wasn't? He hadn't brined it or anything, or it was
yeah,
brined?
yeah, so it had been brined. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
wow.
So we'd actually brined it because we do when you say you've lived off game meat. For us, we kill our own sheep and our own cows. We got
Yeah,
we buy them in and then feed them up and then just we
do it
slaughter
that
them
way.
all
How
ourselves.
good.
So yeah, we literally kill a cow a year and probably two or three sheep.
Yeah,
So and then with the deer sausages and the deer cuts with the back straps and everything that we take as well. That yeah we and even fish, like we don't eat much fish.
mm.
I eat fish, but Em's not a massive fan of fish
Yeah.
unless it's got batter on it. But yeah, we don't eat a lot, so it's all a sport for me. But yeah, chicken's about the only thing that we actually buy in.
Bye. Yeah,
Yeah, which I wish we could. I wish we had a bit more property. We don't probably have enough property at our house to be running, some meat birds and things like that to do them as well. Because
definitely.
I hate, like I hate getting a steak and then cooking it, and then your frying pan's got an inch of water in it. You go, what the hell is going on here? Like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know about the whole process food that that there's probably been about 15 hands that's touched that piece of meat, and
Yeah,
I like
exactly. As a process, yeah, it's gone through.
I
Yeah.
like yeah.
There's actually a big boom at the moment for like the homestead communities. I think it's mainly in America where they'll keep meat rabbits. So instead of
Oh, yeah.
doing meat birds like chooks and stuff, they actually find that the rabbits breed faster and they can
Oh, really?
yeah, they can supply like meat more from these rabbits instead. So they literally have like hundreds of rabbits running around in the open field. They've got like little houses and stuff for them. They
Uh,
yeah, knock them off and have the meat rabbits.
God, wait till Mixo turns up
Yeah,
or
yeah,
bloody
yeah.
Khaleesi virus or
You
one of
hope not,
those.
Jesus.
Then
Yeah.
I'll be in trouble. But
It's
yeah, well, I guess when it stems back from, like I was saying, when we go around those traps when we were little kids, like I was only, 4 or 5 years old, me and my
yeah,
brother would take lanterns around, we go and check the traps, and then we'd take the rabbits home and give them to Gran and she'd cook them up. Like that
yeah,
was the
it's so good,
process.
right?
Like yeah, I think back on those days, just go, geez, I'd love to live another like week of just
That,
being
yeah,
back there and doing that again. Yeah.
definitely. So I actually driving home from the property the other day, we left super early in the morning. I was driving back and I hit a hare on the road and I felt bad. I'm driving. I'm like, I can't just leave it there. So I went back and grabbed him, because he was straight in the middle of the car. So as I've driven over the top of
Oh,
him,
you've clipped his head.
I've clipped his head. Yeah, I'm like, there's no way he's getting anything else. So I drove back and got him, and yeah, we ate him up the other night. It was actually great eating.
That's unreal. Yeah,
Uh,
well done to you. I would have been just like, I'm on a mission here. I'm out. But
yeah, yeah,
where I live, mate, I hit probably 6 kangaroos a week. So I'm
yeah.
not.
Okay.
I get a bit numb to the whole hitting things with there's just kangaroos everywhere at the moment. No, it's been so dry down here, and you get
Oh yeah,
1 mil on the road, it equals 6 or 7 mil off the road because it all
yeah.
runs off the road, and then the green pick pops up, and
They're just
yeah,
there.
heading to work or heading home late. Yeah, they're just everywhere. So we're whacking a few at the moment, which
So you
is
got a
good
good
for
bull
our.
bar.
Yeah, I've got a good bull bar on the range, and she gets although it smashed one of me bloody the ARB lights out the other day. I
Oh
noticed that
no.
this
Yeah.
morning, but yeah, the bar's got some pretty big rails and that holding it up, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Josh, it's been a great conversation, man. I've really enjoyed it and appreciate your time. I think what you guys are doing with Hooked Up is really cool. I'm very excited to kind of see what it does and how it comes into the market, how it's received. I think it is definitely needed, like you've definitely said throughout the podcast, and it's that little missing part. And I think it can just be that next thing that kind of brings the community together that little bit more. And hopefully, it's something that helps to grow the community and bring out more opportunities for more people. I think that's definitely what it's leaning towards. So yeah, good on you for giving it a go, man.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, we're very positive that it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people, and it's going to connect a lot of people together, and hopefully break down barriers and get people out to experiencing the things that I get to experience and that you get to experience. It's sort of like, yeah, that's the aim
Yeah,
for us, and we just want to help people and try to build this thing and try to get people off the couch and out bow hunting and fishing and camping and connecting with other people. That's the aim.
yeah, I love it, man. It's
That's the
so
goal.
cool. There's a good drive behind it too, right? That's a good little why to have.
Yeah, it is. It is. And yeah, what the mate that did the apparel for us, he sort of said, "Oh, it's like hunt, fish, camp, connect." I was like, "That's it.
Yeah,
That's
done.
going to be our hash line. Like that's our yeah." So that's pretty much sums it up. It's yeah, and
It's
yeah,
a
like I
good
said,
way of life, right? Hunt, fish, can connect.
it's the perfect way of life, and hopefully, yeah, a few more people get to live it.
Yeah, I love it, man. Awesome. Well, thanks, East, man. I hope this is well received.
Yeah, good on you, Matty. Appreciate having me on, mate.